Good evening, visitors. Welcome to the Australian War Memorial's last post ceremony. My name is Troy Clayton, and joining us today from the Royal Australian Air Force is Squadron Leader Stacey Davids. We warmly welcome Major General Cheryl Pearce, who has just returned to Australia, having concluded her assignment as Force Commander, United Nations Peacekeeping Force in Cyprus, and Mr. Peter McDermott, Air Force Association National Director. We welcome the veterans who have served, those that are still serving, and the families that love and support them. We also acknowledge the members of the RSL Services Clubs Association, RSL Victoria, and RSL Queensland who are watching this ceremony broadcast across Australia. During this evening's ceremony, wreaths will be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection by visitors to the memorial. If you're able, please stand and join in singing the National Anthem. The Australian War Memorial was the vision of Charles Bean, Australia's First World War official historian. Bean landed with the Australian troops on Gallipoli and stayed with them at the front through to the end of the war. The idea of this national memorial and museum came to him at Pozières, France, in the depths of the bloody fighting of 1916. Bean's idea was that this would be a place where families and friends could mourn their loved ones buried in faraway places. It would also be a place that could help all Australians understand what these men and women had endured and what they had done for us. Bean's vision, to which we remain true, is best expressed as inscribed in the entrance to the memorial's galleries. Here is their spirit, in the heart of the land they loved, and here we guard the record which they themselves made. Tonight, we'll read the story behind just one of those on the Roll of Honour, which lists the names of more than 102,000 men and women who have given their lives for us in war and on operations for more than a century. But first, we present a lament, Flowers of the Forest. Wreaths or floral tributes will now be laid at the base of the Pool of Reflection.
Today, we remember and pay tribute to Flying Officer George Alexander Jacobson. George Jacobson was born on the 25th of March 1917 in Gympie, Queensland, to Charles and Elizabeth Jacobson. He had 4 brothers, John, Frank, Alan, and Percy. The Jacobson family lived in Gunalda, and George attended the Gunalda State School and Gympie High School. He was a keen horseman and was fond of camp drafting, a sporting event in which the rider demonstrates mustering skills. After leaving school, Jacobson worked as a shop assistant and truck driver, and later a mechanic. He joined the local militia unit, serving 2 years with the 47th Battalion and 9 months with the 9th 49th Battalion as a private. On the 5th of April 1940, Jacobson volunteered to join the Royal Australian Air Force. He undertook and passed several courses before embarking in September 1942 for Canada. There, as part of the Empire Air Training Scheme, he was one of almost 27,500 RAAF pilots, navigators, wireless operators, gunners, and engineers who throughout the course of the war joined squadrons based in Britain. Jacobson was commissioned in the RAAF on the 19th of March 1943 as a pilot officer, and that June he left Canada for Europe, arriving in England on the 1st of July. In September, he became a flying officer and spent some time in training before joining No. 514 Squadron, RAAF, in April 1944. The squadron flew Lancaster bombers, and Jacobson joined his crew as an air bomber. Not long after he joined on the 22nd of April, he and his crew were engaged in a bombing operation bound for Düsseldorf. The aircraft took off just after 11 p.m. and was expected back around 3 a.m. on the 23rd. At 2:56 a.m., however, the aircraft sent an SOS message from over the North Sea off the coast of the Netherlands. It was the last time anyone heard of the crew. At dawn, rescue aircraft went in search of the Lancaster and its crew, but found no sign of either. The bodies of 2 of the airmen were later found washed up on the islands off the coast of Holland, but the remains of Flying Officer George Alexander and the 4 other members of his crew were never found. The squadron leader wrote home to John Jacobson, giving details of the circumstances surrounding his brother's disappearance, and added, "Your brother had not been with the squadron very long, but he was fast becoming popular with all, and his crew had great confidence in him as their air bomber. His loss is regretted by all." A commemorative scroll presented to Jacobson's family honored him as one who served his king and country in the World War of 1939 to 1945 and gave his life to save mankind from tyranny. May his sacrifice help to bring the peace and freedom for which he died. Jacobson's brothers Frank and Alan served in the 2nd Australian Imperial Force and survived the war. Flying Officer George Alexander Jacobson is commemorated on the Runnymede Memorial in Surrey, England, which lists more than 20,000 British and Commonwealth men and women who died while serving in the Air Forces between 1939 and 1945. His name is also on the Roll of Honour on my left, among almost 40,000 Australians who died while serving in the Second World War. His photograph is displayed today beside the pool of reflection. This is but one of the many stories of service and sacrifice told here at the Australian War Memorial. We now remember Flying Officer George Alexander Jacobson, who gave his life for us, for our freedoms, and in the hope of a better world.
Please stand for the reading of the Ode and the sounding of the last post.
They shall grow not old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. Lest we forget.
We leave you this evening with the words of the memorial's founder, Charles Bean. Many a man lying out there at Poziere or in the low scrub at Gallipoli, with his poor, tired senses barely working through the fever of his brain, has thought in his last moments, well, it's over. But in Australia, they will be proud of this. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, that concludes the last post ceremony. We'd like to thank you for visiting the Australian War Memorial and wish you all a very good evening. Thank you.